Hello, hello! Welcome to the themoannaadams podcast. I'm your host, Moana, a 15-year-old with a ton to say about mental health, wellness, self-love, and a whole lot more. So let's get into it. Hello, hello! Happy Monday for you. Happy Friday for me. It is Friday. Yeah, it is Friday. It's Friday afternoon, and so I'm excited for the weekend because I'm done with school, and we are going to Hilton Head, and I don't have to do school. This is going to be like my spring break kind of. I don't get a full week off, but I get a few days off at the beginning of the week, and I'm very excited because I haven't been to the beach. I haven't been in the ocean in like 2 years, I think. Yeah, 2 years. So that sucks, but we're going to fix that, hopefully. If it's warm enough, we'll go to the beach. And I'm excited because we haven't traveled in 5 months, and I'm like jittery. I need to get out of Georgia. So we're going to Hilton Head, and we're going to see some friends and hang out, and we got an Airbnb, and we'll film a bunch of content while I'm there, and I'm excited. But today we are talking about when's the right time to start, and there's no right time to start, and you should stop waiting and get off your butt and just do it. And it's a lot, but first, grateful, currently loving. So, I am grateful. Okay, I feel like this is switched. Do I usually do grateful or currently loving first? That's weird. Anyway, I am grateful for my emotional support water bottle, where is it? Hold on, I need to drink of water. Everybody take a sip of water with me. I've seen a lot of people talk about their emotional support water bottle, and mine is my Parks of the U.S. Wandery. I can never decide if it's Wondery or Wandery. Wandery. It's Wondery. Wondery or Wandery? I don't know, but it has like these triangles on it of each national park, and you put a sticker on when you go to a national park. It's like a bucket list thing, and I always say it's adventure proof, and it's like the most granola girl thing that I own. Actually, that's not true because I just ordered a ton of their stuff. I talked about this before, but they have like this partnership with Jeep and everything, and I just ordered a ton of their stuff. But I love it, and it has all the national parks on it, and I want to go to all of them. I have 14 checked off so far. My favorite's the Grand Tetons, but this is what I'm grateful for. So everybody take a sip of water with me. Ready? Set. Okay, so that's my grateful. Now let's do currently loving. My currently loving is so weird, but it's cupcakes. I used to hate cupcakes, and this week I've had 5 cupcakes this week, I think. My little sister and my cousin had a joint birthday party at the beginning of the week on Sunday, and I had a cupcake there. It was delicious, and I had a bite of my cousin's cake. So good. It was really cute. My cousin turned 3, and Evie turned 5, and their birthdays are like a few weeks apart, so we did like a birthday for them together, and there was a bounce house, and everything was really cute, and they both love dinosaurs, so we did dinosaurs, and I had a cupcake there, and had a dinosaur on it. And then my mom's office was giving out cupcakes for Earth Day, even though Earth Day is tomorrow when I'm recording this, because today's the 21st and Earth Day is the 22nd. But they were giving out cupcakes, and so she brought home my brother and I each a cupcake. It was really good. And then I had 3 red velvet cupcakes this week, too. And they were pretty good. They were kind of weird. They were like dry, but also really moist at the same time. But I didn't care. It was a cupcake. It was good. So that's my current loving is cupcakes. And now I kind of want a cupcake, but I already had one today. So there's that. Those are my things. Let's do this because I have things to say and not a lot of time to say them. So let's do it. So today we're talking about stop waiting. There's no right time. Just start. I have always sucked at this, and I still suck at this, and I'm getting better. And so that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it. I've always been a start on Monday, start on the first kind of girl. I want to wait until the exact time, or like if I'm scrolling on my phone, I'm like, I'll stop it exactly 1 o'clock. And then if I, like, don't look at the time and it's, like, 1:01, I'm like, well, now I have to wait till 1:05. And, I mean, it's all excuses. And I've always been a perfectionist, so I don't want to start at something until I'm really good at it, but you can't be good at something if you've never done it. And I want to be really good before I even start. And that's not fair to myself. That's, like, an expectation that I can't have with myself if I've never done it, then how am I going to be really good at it? Like, that's not fair, and that's not something that you should hold yourself to. You can't get better at something unless you make mistakes, and unless you do it, and you actually do it and try it, and, you know, learn from your mistakes, and learn the different ways to do something, and all that kind of thing. Doing content creation is, like, kind of the example that we're going to talk about today, just because that's the easiest thing for me to talk about. And I've only been doing it, I haven't been doing it for a year, and I've, like, learned so much, and oh my god, I was looking at some of my old videos from when I first started, like, 9 months ago. They're so awful, and I'm, like, scrolling through my old stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why is the text so big? And the sounds were awful. And the funny thing is, the sounds were, like, things that everyone was using too, so I'm like, did everybody else's look this bad, or were they just mine? And then I'm like, okay, but it's better now. Like, it keeps getting better. And I'm not proud of every single video that I put out, but, you know, I'm being consistent in putting them out. And I'm still finding my style of content. I'm still trying to get more comfortable in front of the camera when it comes to short form and that kind of thing. So, you know, I'm trying to get better at just starting. And content has definitely taught me a lot about this, because I waited so long, and that wasn't necessarily on my fault. My parents wouldn't let me, like, have public accounts and, you know, do everything until, you know, almost a year ago now. And so it wasn't all my fault that I didn't start yet, but, like, the podcast, for example, I could have started 2 years ago, and I wanted to start when I was, like, 12 is when I had the ideas to have this podcast, and it took me 3 years to actually do it. And so, like, we always talk about, like, God, like, when you start to do something and you're passionate about it and you really love it, you're like, I wish I started younger. And there's a sound that's been going around, like, the past few months, and it's like, people are always like, I don't remember what he says. He says something like, everyone's like, I wish I started younger, and he's like, yeah, but you didn't. You started now, and, like, that's better than nothing. And, I mean, it's true. Like, if I had started content, you know, 3 years ago, maybe I would be even better at it now, but it probably wouldn't have started as well either. Like, it probably wouldn't have been as good when I started. And I think content creation is definitely a hard example, because the content creation world changes so fast. Like, it's constantly changing, and, like, it's crazy how much it changes. You know, it used to be just YouTube, and then it was Instagram, and then it was TikTok, and then there's Pinterest before that, and then there's like Reels, and it's all short form, and now there's podcasts, and, you know, all this different stuff. It just keeps adding, and, you know, some things are getting taken away. You know, less people are creating long form YouTube videos. I know I haven't really watched a YouTube video. Well, that's not true. I watched a YouTube video today, but that was me going down a rabbit hole trying to learn how to speak Minion. That's a whole nother thing. That was me procrastinating and not wanting to do stuff. So I went down a rabbit hole of trying to learn Minionese, or whatever they call it. That's the last YouTube video I watched. But other than that, like, I haven't been watching the people I used to watch on YouTube nearly as much. And I only use my YouTube for shorts and the podcast. And so, like, it's constantly changing. And so if I would have started then, maybe I would have been better now. But also, I can't start unless I've done it. Like, I wouldn't have gotten better unless I had already done it, and unless I had already tried. I hope that makes sense. I can't be good at it if I've never done it, and I don't try, and I don't make mistakes, and I don't learn from those mistakes. So you can't expect yourself to be really good at something before you've even done it, before you even started. So I like to look at it like this. Start with, why are you waiting to start? Like, what is holding you back? You don't feel like you're good enough. That was something that really, you know, held me back for a long time, and still does with certain things. I'm like, I'm not good enough to do it, and you have to start somewhere. When I'm in the climbing world, it's a big thing too. You know, people are embarrassed to go to the gym when they first start because they suck. Like, yeah, you're going to suck. You've never done it before. And, I mean, maybe you might not suck at first, but you probably will, because it takes time to learn these things. Everybody sucked at some point. Everybody was new at some point. And it's also not fair to, like, make fun of each other because they're new and they've never done it before. They don't know. So, do you feel like you're not good enough? Or maybe you don't feel prepared. That was something with the podcast where I remember when I was planning to start the podcast, when I was seriously planning it, 8 months ago or whatever, I was like laughing at other podcasters for missing episodes, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? Why didn't you like have it like 3 episodes in advance or even more? Like, why don't you have episodes out in advance? Like, done in advance and scheduled and everything. And I'm like, come on, guys. Like, I'm totally going to have like 12 episodes in advance already prepared. No, I don't. I still don't. Like, I was judging everyone else, but I didn't know what I was doing either. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be super prepared. I have this and this and this. And then I actually released the podcast. I only had like 2 episodes ready, not 12. And like, I sat there and I was like, what is everybody doing? Why don't y'all have, like, I was confused. Like, why don't you guys have episodes out in advance? And it's because it's hard. It's hard work. It takes so much energy to record because you're trying to be happy and positive and you're talking a lot and you're giving your energy, and then you have to edit it and schedule it and post about it. And it takes a lot of work, and I didn't realize how much it was going to be. And so I'm learning as I go. So if you don't feel prepared, that can definitely hold you back from starting. And maybe you don't feel like you're going to be able to keep up. Like I said, with climbing, it feels like when you first start, everyone else is better than you. And that's because they are, because they've been doing it for longer. And you feel like you won't be able to keep up. Or with content, for me, it was like, maybe there's already too many podcasts. It's YouTube is so saturated. Like, there are so many YouTube channels out there, but people are still successful, of course. But I feel like if I started YouTube now, I feel like I would never be able to catch up. I would never be able to grow because there's so many other options. And I feel like the podcast world is starting to get like that too. There's more and more and more podcasts. And even though there's nowhere near as many as there are YouTube, there's still a lot of them. And then, what are you scared of? Like, are you scared of something? And that's what's keeping you from starting. Are you scared of being judged by everyone else? Are you scared of failing? Like, are you scared to start because you don't want to fail or you don't want to be judged? Or do you just have excuses? Because all of those things are kind of excuses, and anything else is probably also an excuse because you're scared, or because you don't feel like you're good enough, or you don't feel prepared, or you don't feel like you'll be able to keep up. So why are you waiting to start? Put a reason to it. Because if you don't have a reason, then you're just being lazy. Next thing is, if you don't have a reason, or even if you do have a reason and you're making excuses, or if you're making excuses, do you really want to do it? And why? Like, what's your reason? Like, do you actually want it? I was watching, Spencer Barbosa came out with a video about a month ago, and I just got around to watching it. You know what, that's the actual last YouTube video I watched. She was talking about content creation and being an influencer and, like, her journey and that kind of thing, and, all that. And she was like, if you want to become a content creator and influencer because you want to be famous and you want to, get brand deals and have a lot of followers, then don't become a content creator. You should become a content creator because you love creating content and you're passionate about it and you want to change people's lives. You want to put out positive content. Not because you want to be famous or you want a lot of followers or you want to make money. That's not why. That should not be your reason. So what is your reason, and do you really want it? Because if you have all these excuses, like, do you really want it that bad? Or are you just going to keep making excuses? And what is your why? Are you doing it for the right reasons? Are you actually passionate about what you want to do? Are you Do you actually want it? How bad do you really want it if you're going to sit here and wait to start? Because if you don't have a strong why, then why do it in the first place? What's the point? If you're doing it to make someone else happy, don't do it. Do it because you know it'll make you a better person, a better version of yourself. It'll make you happy, and it's what you're passionate about. No matter what it is. I'm just saying, generally speaking, whatever you're trying to do, whatever you've been waiting to start and you still haven't done it, why haven't you, and why do you want it? What's the point of putting yourself through the stress and beating yourself up over not starting it, and then putting yourself through trying to do it if you don't even really want it, or you don't even have a good reason to do it? What's the point? Why would you put yourself through that? Okay, now that you have that figured out, think about it. Think about why you're not starting, why you want to start, and if you really want to start in the first place. Once you have that locked down, remember that you don't have to do everything the first day. If you're just feeling overwhelmed about starting, you don't have to do everything on the first day. We're not doing full 180s on day one. You have to break it down. So I always like to have a plan for everything that I do. Everything. So make a plan and understand that it's flexible. Just because you have a plan doesn't mean that's going to be exactly how it's going to go. Plan it out step by step and write it down or break it down on Notion or whatever software you use, and plan it out. Lay it all out on paper so you can see it and understand it and read it, and have a step-by-step plan and a to-do list. So first, plan it out. What do you want to do? Why do you want to do it? How bad do you want it? And how are you going to get there? Then make sure you have a list of all the things that need to get done before you can start. Before I could launch the podcast, I needed branding, I needed a cover, I needed music, I needed to edit the first 3 episodes, I needed those things. Before I could start climbing, I needed to find a gym, I needed to understand how to fall correctly, I needed to understand the vocabulary. So understand what you need to get done before you can start. Before you can start. Have a to-do list. You need to plan, obviously. That's what you're doing right now. Maybe you need to reset. If you're just trying to start working on yourself, maybe you need to have a reset day. You need to clean up your room. You need to clean your water bottle. You need to go to the grocery store. You need to take a shower. And you need to prep. You need to, it's like setting your workout clothes the night before. You need to have, you need to know what you're going to eat in the morning. Have the freezer bag smoothie in the fridge. Those kinds of things. And then make sure you have the step-by-step of once you start. With the podcast, I had a step-by-step. I knew I needed to do an episode a week, every week, as much as I could. I knew I needed to post on YouTube and Spotify and Apple, and I needed to have guests on at some point, and I needed to post, at least multiple times a week. I needed to post whenever I post a new episode. I need reels, I need short form, I need shorts, I need Pinterest, all those things. And then do a little bit each day. If it's too overwhelming to do everything at once, do a little bit each day. Check one thing off your before you start list off first, and try to do it at the same time every day. You're freshest in the morning. My dad and I were talking about this the other week because I was feeling overwhelmed, and I felt like after school I was just exhausted, and I felt like I couldn't put, enough of my good energy into content, and I felt like I was not doing content well, and I was always behind, and I'm still struggling with it now. But he was like, do an hour of content in the morning. Don't do a ton of content before school, but do, an hour or 2 of content in the morning. Wake up a little bit earlier instead. So do a little bit each day. Try to pick a time and just build consistency. Progress over perfection. Like I said earlier, I am very bad at this, and I'm still not very good at starting and just starting, not waiting, not making excuses. I try to wait till Monday, wait till the first of the month, wait till, the first day of the week, whatever it is. I'm so bad at this, and I have been for a really long time, but I'm starting to get better. And there's a few random things that help me that might help you, but they might not. So just hear me out. This one's gonna sound so depressing at first, but let me just explain, okay? These are just the things that help me, give me a little bit of a boost, of a kickstart to just start, to just do it. And the first one is remembering that literally nothing matters. Like, when I say nothing matters, I mean the whole, we're on a rock floating in space, and time is infinite and also constantly ending. And if the Egyptians and Caesar and some other dead guys didn't decide that Monday was going to be the first day of the work week, and Sunday and Saturday were going to be then, and then we're going to be 28 days in some Februaries and more days in other Februaries and whatever, literally nothing matters. So why are you going to sit here and worry about starting at an exact time or an exact date? What's the point? Because that's just because some dead guy said so. That's something that sometimes I have to tell myself, there's no real meaning behind any of the dates. They're just days. And time is infinite, and we have as much time as we need, but we also have no time at all. So there's that. And there's this sound that's also going around right now. And it's this guy, I don't know who it is, some motivational speaker, some rich guy, something like that. But he's like, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. And honestly, that's something that, I truly do agree with. And, he's right. Yeah, the best time to start was 20 years ago because you would be 20 years worth of experience, but you didn't. So start now. Because you're going to regret it if you wake up tomorrow and you still didn't start. And then the next day you still didn't start. And then you're going to get a year from now and you're going to suck. And you're not going to be good because you didn't give yourself time to practice. Because you never started. Or it took you too long to start. If you're too lazy to start now, then what's going to happen when it really gets hard? I know that starting was definitely not the hardest part about having a podcast, and I probably haven't hit the hardest part of having a podcast yet. Or, whatever it is. For some things, maybe starting is the hardest part. But for a lot, you're probably gonna peak and go back down and go back up and back down and back up and back down. And when you hit that really low, if you couldn't even start, how are you gonna get there? What are you gonna do when it really gets hard and it really gets rough? So get yourself up and do it. Just start, because there's no right time to start. There's literally none. You just have to do it, and you just have to get up, and you just have to take the first step. You just have to break it down and take the first step. So here's what I want you to do. Whatever it is that the whole time I've been talking, you've probably been thinking about one or two specific things that you want to start. Because that's just, that's how you're going to relate things. There's something that you've been thinking about that you really want to do. You really want to start it. And you thought about it before and were like, yes, I want to do this, but these things are holding me back. Throw those things away because nothing matters. And they don't matter. Nobody else's opinion matters. And start planning it out. Just for today, I want you to plan it out. Maybe take a shower, sit down with your computer or a notebook and write down what you want and why you want it and what's holding you back. Then, create a step-by-step. Your goal, what you want to get, what you want to have, what you want to be, and how are you going to get there. And you might not know yet, so do some research and figure it out, because there's always got to be someone who's done it before, right? You got to find people who are there right now. They're doing what you want to do. Find those people, look at what they did, listen to their journey videos and, all those kinds of things. Plan it out, because starting looks different for everyone. For some people, starting means getting up and cleaning your room. It might mean doing some research. It might be planning. It might be setting the goals. It might be checking something off your list. But whatever it is, just do it right now. I'm about to be done talking, and you're not going to have another episode to listen to for a week. So get up and just start, because there's nothing that could be really keeping you back. Even when, I've been waiting for like 5 months to have my LLC open, and we just opened it the other week, or like last week. And yes, I needed that to do certain things, but it wasn't keeping me from making new episodes. It wasn't keeping me from creating reels and doing those kinds of things. It wasn't keeping me from doing the things I needed to do to still push myself towards my goals. So no matter what's quote unquote holding you back, you can either solve it or push it to the side and do what you can do, and just do it. Just start. Do whatever you can to take the first step, because starting looks different from everyone, and you just have to start. That's what I've said over and over again, but it's true. You just have to start. I know this was a long ranty episode, but I hope that it was valuable for you and you feel motivated to get up and do it. And I hope that you do start and write down your goals and plan them out and work and do whatever you can to get there, because it'll be worth it. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to give this podcast a rate and review, as well as follow me on all my socials linked in the show notes. Don't forget to drink some water, and I'll talk to you later.